A warm welcome to our viewers here in Lagos and elsewhere in the world. I'm Joke Rogers, bringing you the latest global stories. Our former U.S. President Donald Trump's hush money trial is continuing in New York. Adult film star is expected to take the stand today to testify despite the defense objections. Ms. Stormy Daniels alleges that she and Mr. Trump had an affair at a celebrity golf tournament in Nevada in 2006, shortly after Mr. Trump's wife, Melania, gave birth to their son, Barron, a claim the former president denies. Prosecutors say Mr. Trump directed his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, to pay Ms. Daniels $130,000 in exchange for her silence. However, the defense says Ms. Daniels has no place in a case about books and records, and they don't want her testifying about sexual acts. A five-story building under construction has collapsed in the South African city of George, killing 6 people. Rescue teams are racing to search for survivors as 49 people are believed to be trapped under the rubble. So far, 24 people have been pulled out from the wreckage and taken to hospital. More than 100 rescuers with sniffer dogs worked through the night to locate those trapped in the building. Heavy lifting equipment is being used to assist the operation. However, an investigation is ongoing into the cause. Our correspondent, Innocent Simosa, has more developments on the story.
A tragic incident taking place in the Western Cape in George. But that number now, we are told by authorities that that number is now 6 people are confirmed dead, and 49 are still trapped under the rubble. But we also know again that this particular site was for construction, but also it took them time to really find out who is the owner of that construction site. But we understand again that at least 12 people, we do know that it was 11 during the afternoon, but 12 people are in contact with the rescue operation team. But also the numbers keep changing because it's still new. The rescue operation team is trying, to rescue these people. At the same time, they have to, speak to the media and update the public. Well, at this point in time, it's not clear what really led to the collapse of this building. But we do know that investigations have started, as I've indicated, that now the authorities know the owners of that construction site. But I guess what they are looking at is an engineering fault, which of course is making it difficult for the rescue operation team, because now they are speaking about issues around, that the concrete is very hard and the steel to really rescue the people. So it's really a challenging situation. But for now, Layo, we do know that investigations are underway into the cause of this particular collapse of this building. There's no official statement from the government, but what we heard, it's the local government that is led by the mayor, Leon van Wyk, who told the public that he's requesting for people to really come and help, with food parcels, with energy drinks, with water for the team on the ground, because it's really a tedious process to really try to, evacuate those people there. So he's calling for the public to really try to come on board and really, help the people by giving back. We know that an NGO group that's called Gift of the Givers, they're already on the ground to really try to help, the staff there that is trying to really repatriate the people. But we heard also from the mayor, who briefed the media this afternoon, Layo. He said that about 75 people were in the building, were working on the building, and about 21 people survived, and also that number from 5, now it's 6 people who are confirmed dead.
Over in Kenya, President William Ruto has promised emergency financial assistance to every household affected and displaced by floods in Nairobi. He was speaking during the visit of the affected areas in the capital's dense informal settlements. Mr. Ruto pledged to give each family 10,000 shillings, vowing to rebuild all schools destroyed. Schools were supposed to resume on Monday this week, but that has been postponed until further notice, as heavy rains and flooding have killed more than 200 people. The president also announced the construction of 20,000 houses expected to help people living in informal settlements. The construction is under his affordable housing project that he says will go on to end such flooding-related displacements in future. Kenya and other parts of East Africa have been overwhelmed by flooding, with more than 150,000 people living in camps across the country. Well, the annual Africa Dialogue Series of the United Nations, ADS 2024, is underway, with the theme of the 2024 edition being Education through Science, Technology and Innovation towards the Africa we want. ADS 2024 aims to mobilize actions and inspire solutions, leveraging the power of science, technology and innovation to boost access to quality education in Africa. Christina Duarte, Under Secretary General and Special Advisor on Africa, and Ambassador Fatima Kiari Mohammed, Permanent Observer of the African Union to the United Nations, briefed on the annual flagship event.
This basically is a clarion call to action. It is a rallying cry for African member states to prioritize education as the cornerstone for progress and development. This initiative also underscores the importance of building transformed, resilient education systems that not only increase access, but also inclusive quality and relevance in learning.
STEM education for the fourth industrial revolution. So, as everybody knows, the main challenge is to create decent jobs in Africa. 95% of the young population in Africa, I'd like to repeat this number, 95% of the young population in Africa has no access to decent jobs, which means that sometimes to have a job in Africa does not work as a tool to get out of poverty. Why innovative financing? To transform education in Africa. As my dear sister mentioned, we have more than 100 million children outside school. We can assure you that the old financing model, business as usual, will not address this issue. 100 million people outside school with no fiscal space. So education calls for innovative financing, leveraging ICT to deal with this issue. Instability has been increasing. Conflict has been increasing. And we need, from a policy making and from a UN system standpoint, we need to discuss how to address instability and conflict without putting on hold education, which means without putting on hold or without closing schools.
To politics, counting of votes is underway in Chad for a presidential election intended to mark the end of 3 years of military rule. Dozens of security forces have been deployed in the capital amid rising tensions on Monday as polls closed in the first presidential election in Africa's Sahel region since a wave of coups. Soldiers and riot police patrolled the streets alongside at least armored and other military vehicles in the opposition-friendly southern neighborhoods of the capital, N'Djamena. Monday's election pitted President Mohamed Idris Deby against his Prime Minister Success Masra, previously a political opponent who fled into exile in 2022 but was allowed back a year later. Also running were former Prime Minister Albert Fahimi Padaki and 7 other candidates, including one woman. Some 8.5 million people were registered to vote. Provisional results are expected by May 21st and final results by June the 5th. If no candidate wins more than 50% of the votes, a runoff will be held on June 22nd.
Counting commenced on Monday evening in Chad for
Polls are also underway in the third phase of the Indian elections. The first and second phases of the polls have already decided the fate of 190 seats. Two main alliances are competing against each other in this election. The National Democratic Alliance, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and the National Developmental Inclusive Alliance, led by the main opposition Indian National Congress. Both party leaders urge citizens to come out to vote in large numbers to protect their rights. About 969 million people are registered to vote in the world's most populous nation over the next 6 weeks. The results of the polls will be announced on June the 4th. And more elections. The winner of Panama's presidential election, Jose Molino, has pledged to bring about national unity in the country. He was addressing supporters during a victory speech in Panama City. The former public security minister received 34% of the votes, according to preliminary results, while former diplomat Ricardo Lombano came in second with more than 24%. Mr. Molino is an ally of former President Ricardo Martinelli, who has been disqualified due to a money laundering conviction and has been campaigning for Molino from the Nicaraguan embassy, which granted him asylum. And finally on the program, more than 700 dancers of all ages from across the globe gathered at Havana's La Piragua Park to participate in an attempt to set a new world record for the largest Ruedas de Casino, a unique Cuban salsa dance. Ruedas de Casino is a type of salsa round dance that emerged in Cuba in the 1950s. That's our program today. Thank you for watching. I'm Joke Rogers.